All right, this is State of Mind, my second one for today. Um, if you like what you see, please subscribe. You know I got to say that every Sunday because we're climbing up there, and it's the goal. It's getting close, man. Uh, so please subscribe. Hit that little thing right here. So today, what can I say about this incredible actor? I told him I was going to kiss his ass, and I'm and I will, because here's what happened, and I'm not bullshitting here. Um, I went to look at his credits, and there's so many credits that I just said I'm not going to keep going because it was like this long. If it was credits, I've never seen that many credits. But I will say he did China Beach, Sons of Anarchy, and yesterday I had Frankie Loyal on from Mayans, which is he was great, and Walking Dead. But you guys probably know him, Cyrus Renault, Jeff Kober. What's up?
Hey, man.
Damn.
Good to be here.
Good to be here, man. I'm so glad you're here,
Yeah,
and you look great with that hair like that, man.
Thanks.
I'm dead serious because I looked at it over there. You look great. Where'd you grow up?
Montana.
Oh, Montana.
Yeah. I grew up on a farm outside of Billings, about 20 miles outside of Billings, Yellowstone River Valley.
Is Montana as beautiful as?
It's so amazingly beautiful. And, during the pandemic, people were buying land up there, sight unseen. It just jacked the property prices way up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they moved up there and they had to go through a Montana winter, and that's a whole other kettle of fish, man.
Just snowing and
30
cold.
below. In Bozeman, I went to school there for a while, never graduated, but every winter it would be like at least 3 weeks of 30 below. And
30 below?
30 below with wind. We didn't even have wind chill when I was a kid. That's how old I am. But it's a dry cold, so it's not like Chicago, where it's just like,
Yeah, when I lived I never left California, but I did all my children in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And that wind chill.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
I had to walk to work, and I said, what am I doing here? It's like somebody slapping you in the face. But I see pictures of I used to have, when I first started General Hospital, I used to have a picture of Montana. And it was just so beautiful, a lake with like a mountain.
Mountains. Yeah, the mountains make me feel safe, when I see them there, because you can orient from them, and they're so solid. They're just there, and it's like visual proof and gravitational proof of life. It's right there. So.
And then in the summer, must be just.
It's hot, man. Well,
it is hot.
Days. Yes, it's the climate change, man. I mean, it gets hot, and you're up, around 4,000 feet, so there's not as much ozone between you and the sun, so you can get burned, especially when you're a white boy like me. And the last few summers I've been up there, it's been like really, really hot. It's been nasty.
Like
95, 100,
What about when'd you move to L.A.?
1978, autumn 1978. Long time.
For acting.
No. I didn't know that real people could be actors. I didn't know what. The first time I saw anyone act was I played trombone in college at the University of Montana in Missoula. And they needed a trombone in the pit orchestra of Fiddler on the Roof.
Right.
And J.K. Simmons.
Oh!
He was the conductor. His father was the head of the music school, and he got a master's in conducting. So that's why he was able to do that in Whiplash.
Yeah.
But he was the conductor, and I played trombone, and I watched these people on stage, and it was like, they were feeling things, and they were talking to each other, and everyone's attention was on them, and it was like life being lived out, and I was so shut down. It was like black and white over here and, Technicolor over there.
Yeah.
So.
But you
I
were.
still didn't know, but then I
How good was he then, J.K.?
oh, he was good, but he was tough. He had more hair, but he was tough. I dropped my mute one night in the really quiet part of the play, so that wasn't good.
Oh,
And
really?
I got some daggers thrown at me. Yeah, but no, he was. Really,
And how old were you at that time?
you know, I was like 22, because I went to college for a while, then went off and did strange things, and then worked my way back in. So I was like 22, 23, somewhere around there.
When you started acting?
Well, no, I started acting because I came to L.A. I followed an actress down here. She wanted to be an actress, and I was just a bum, man, you know. And I got in a rock band for a short while.
You did, you played bass
player.
guitar?
Yeah, because
Somebody told me I should play bass guitar.
Oh yeah, bass is good. Bass is fun.
You like George Benson?
Yeah,
He's badass on that, right? Bass.
Well, George Benson he's a guitar player.
Yeah. More jazz.
Yeah.
On Broadway.
Yeah, all that. Yeah.
So how was it playing the bass guitar?
Well, it was like it was we had a very short but brilliant run where we opened for Tim Hardin. I can't remember his song. He had a big song.
What was it, Jeff? I want to know.
Okay, Tim Hardin.
Tim Hardin.
Look it up.
We
man.
can look it up.
Yeah. And he was so drunk, he kept dropping his guitar when he was playing. So we went and backed him up and played some songs behind him. So that was fun. And that was like in the early '80s in LA when there was, the China Club was happening.
Yeah. What kind of
Black
music?
Keys and all. It's just rock and roll. We think it was called the Walking Wounded. That was our band. I'm still thinking about Tim Hardin.
Yeah, what the hell, Tim Hardin?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody can look it up as we're talking.
Yeah, he's a folk singer.
So then when did, so you did was it successful? Were you successful in that band?
No, because, like we were offered a contract, but, it was, in the music business, at least at that time, they would offer you a recording contract. And in the fine print, it said, and basically, you get 1% of the royalties and we get everything else, so we never signed. And then the band broke up, as they are wont to do.
Yeah.
And then I was just kind of lost, and I got my first and only office job. I worked at the Getty Oil Company as a paralegal for 1 year.
No.
Yeah. And they were being sued by Skelly Oil and this uranium mining company in Australia. And so me and the lead singer were there, and there were we were all like contract hires, like temporary paralegals. And, and so we were getting high and doing our work.
Wow.
And I said, and it was like I was lost, and I remembered, and the relationship with the woman was long gone. And I remembered that going to school, classes made sense because they gave you an assignment, you filled it up,
right,
and then you had a grade. So, that makes sense. So I just started talking. I said, I want to find a class. This woman said, I go to this acting class. I think you'd dig it. So I went to an acting class at the Victory Theater out here in Burbank. Maria Gobetti was the teacher. And I saw these people, and this was during the time where it was like, just pull your guts out and leave them on the stage.
Yeah.
And these people were doing it, and it was like everything that was inside of me suddenly made sense. It was useful somewhere. It wasn't like something you had to set aside in order to be in the world.
Right.
And so I was in, and I started going to class there, and that's when I started.
But Jeff, you have kicked ass. I mean, I don't mean that like, you really have.
I've been really fortunate to, just to keep working and finding a place where, someone wanted to interview me about Victor French. He was in Highway to Heaven with Michael Landon.
Yeah.
And he directed a bunch of them. And my first big guest star role was on that, on a 2-episode arc, and he did the most beautiful thing, which is I came in, I was just over prepared for the audition, just emotionally filled up, and I did the audition, and then he said, okay, now try it again, and he gave me one little direction, and everything just...
Do you remember what that direction was?
You know, it was something like...
Don't overact?
It was, no, because I was too tight.
Inside.
I was too inside.
Yeah.
And he said it was something about just, you know, take a breath, just talk to her.
Yes.
Something like that. And I did, and I just, you know, I was crying, and it was like, and I got to do this role that was just, it was memorable, you know, for people who saw it, and it was definitely memorable for me.
Did you work with Michael Landon?
I did. I was
How
acting
was
with
he,
him.
man?
He was
Bonanza.
He was. Here's the thing about Michael Landon. He had people that had been with him since Bonanza, all the way through Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
20 years they've been crew members. They've been working with him.
Yeah.
He never fired anybody. There were some people he never asked back because they didn't fit in.
Right.
But it was like a family.
Wow.
It was like this big, beautiful family. And I had this birthmark on my face, and so I worked with these old makeup people. One of them, it was Whitey and Hank, and Whitey was Marilyn Monroe's makeup artist.
Dang.
And Hank, I can't remember his last name. He's a really big guy, not some guy you'd think was doing makeup, but he was doing my makeup. And we would get done with the day shooting, and I'd come in, and it was like a couple hours makeup putting on, and, you know, an hour taking it off, and they'd pour me a big old glass of scotch, and I would just sit there and drink.
Really?
Yeah. And this was before I stopped drinking, but it was like heaven, man, because I was using myself and being present in a way, you know, just, you know, when you find out where you fit, it's like,
What's your technique? Because I come from the actor student, you know, the method. I personalize everything. I use my real life, put it into my.
I learned how to use my real life, but it's the other branch, the Meisner.
Meisner, yes.
You know, so repetition, and then after Maria, I went to the guy who was her teacher, who studied with Meisner. His name was Ed K. Martin, and it was about repetition exercises. He ran Wisdom Bridge in Chicago. He was the head of UCLA theater for a while. But he was just, oh my God, he was just this big, powerful guy. And he would, I was in one scene with this guy, Alex Downs, and we were about to start the scene, and Alex opened his mouth, and before a word even came out, Ed said, "Stop! You weren't ready to speak." And then he talked to us for 20 minutes and said, "Get up." And we never even got to act that night, because this guy would go to plays, and he would sit front row center, and if they weren't telling the truth in the first 10 minutes, we'd get up and leave the theater. And I saw it one night where the people on stage literally stopped because he was like, "Oh, Jesus, you know, he's going out."
But you know, Jeff, I'm that way. I've worked with a lot of young actors, and I helped them out. I can hear the truth. You're the same way, right? You hear bad acting. You can hear real quick,
and it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah. And I think the better teacher you are, the louder it is.
I worked with someone yesterday. I get together with some friends and just work out, and this woman had a monologue that she wanted to do, and it was so perfect for her. It was from Marriage Story, and she got up on stage and was talking to an imaginary person out here, and she's kind of yelling it, and then she yelled it again, and then I said, "Jocelyn, just stand up here." And I gave her two directions. I said, "Just talk to Jocelyn, and what would this be like if it were a comedy?" She said, "You want me to play it as a comedy?" I said, "No, but there might be some humor in it." And so she just opened her mouth and started talking to Jocelyn. It was like,
there you go. Yeah.
It was like, oh, I can sit and watch this woman talk now for the next however long, because there's a reality there. There's a flow going on.
You know, I won't say the actress's name because I may get in trouble, but she was Meisner. And she always had a problem with the dialogue, man. Always. This dialogue. And I said, what, why? And I'm not saying that's just Meisner people would do that.
Oh.
But I just personalize everything. So I don't care if it's bad dialogue. I just say it because I'm going to.
There's a reason I'm saying
yes.
it. Yeah.
But no, I said she. But it was like, I said, if you could just get out of yourself, you wouldn't have to complain all the time.
Well, see, that's a misuse of Meisner, because Meisner.
Yeah, tell me.
The whole point of Meisner, number one, is just to be present in the moment. It's behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances. And what Ed always said was, all life exists in the other person. So that I don't have any attention in here. I get grounded in here, and then I talk to you.
Yeah.
And depending on my emotional need in the scene, my intention, it's going to come out a different way. And if you're getting it, I'm going to go one way. If you're not getting it, I'm going to go another way. But you're going to determine how I say it, watching you. So if I get off of you, then I'm in trouble. If I get scared and go into my head to try to figure out what to do, I'm in trouble. But if I get scared and go to you, or if I get off and go to you, you're always going to, and then I just start from zero. I'm just going to start talking, and
That's
then it's going to go where it goes.
I think I do both.
Yeah. Well, in that job, we have to, don't I mean, you got to just like whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I do both. Did you ever work with Cynthia Walters on Lost?
No.
You didn't?
No, I was just on it for a minute. Yeah.
Oh,
she's great. You get to work with her a lot now, right?
She's my chick, man.
Oh, man.
2 years in a story that, when it was first told to me, I said, this ain't going to work. Because I ain't playing this cowboy, Hi, I'm Mike. And I said to Cynthia, I said, look, this is probably going to last 6 months. This is just not going to end. So let's just have fun. And here we are like 2 years later.
That's amazing.
It's been great. She's wonderful. She has vulnerability.
Oh, and she's like one of the most generous people I've ever met, acting-wise, just to watch her. She's just so...
Since we're going to go here on GH, we might as well talk about it. You came on as a bad guy. You won an Emmy last year, right? Am I right?
This year, yeah.
This year.
Yeah, 4 last year. Yeah.
For a bad guy, you're not only a great actor, but you're popular and you win an Emmy. I mean, I've been on the show, as you know, a long time, 30 years. That don't happen. Doesn't happen.
Oh, wow.
No, it doesn't. Not as a bad guy, also popular, and wins an Emmy.
Here's why.
Yes.
It was like a 6-week job. They brought me in for some plot line. Then they said, we're having fun with you. You want to stick around? I said, yeah, sure. So they made me Laura's half-brother.
Right.
And they gave me mommy issues. So my mother hadn't talked to me since I was 18 years old because I accidentally ran over our father.
Right.
And Michael Knight's father.
Right, I love Michael Knight.
He's great. And so when I have something like that to work with, the richness of that, because acting is based on need. Because if I don't need you, then I'm not going to pay attention to you. I'm just going to do whatever I want. And but if I need something from you, and another thing that really helped out was my first scenes were with you. We had 5 scenes, and it was you came to visit me in prison. It was behind a glass thing, and you were just like, you weren't given an inch, man. And I was there, and we were. I just remember. Okay, we did the first scene, and then they said, okay, moving on. I went, oh yeah. Okay. And then we did the second scene, and they said, okay, next scene. I went, and then we did the third scene, and they said, okay, we got it. I said, this is fucking nuts. And I was mic'd, and the whole crew just cracked up.
Oh, right.
They were waiting for me to crack because it's one take, man.
And I might have told you, this is, most people come in here, and they're like, that's it? Next.
Yeah, it's just nuts. But I made a promise to myself after that night. I said, either you just go for it or you quit. Because if you're going to half-ass, you can't half-ass this. You've got to like just throw it out there, and if you're going to crash big.
Yeah.
You've got to be willing to embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
And clearly you know this on there. Because so all that juicy material, and then working a lot with Jeannie Francis.
Yes.
And her coming alive like, oh, there's someone over there.
Yeah.
You know. And then the stuff at the end when they sent me away to prison, they gave me such a great arc to work with that it was all the right elements.
Yes.
To really bring it alive and to see that one of the things about being a bad guy is they're people. If we see them as something other, then we're ignoring that part of ourselves. And everyone's doing something from their own need. Unless you're a sociopath, then that's a different, that's a different thing. But most people doing bad things are not thinking of themselves as I'm doing bad things.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted people to feel the truth of this guy and have compassion and judge him.
Yeah, and they have to give you that though.
Yeah.
In the material.
Yeah.
Some guys
they've got to give you that.
Yeah.
Well, do they?
They don't have to, but if you don't get it and you're just one note in the writing, you can add your own flair, but you ain't gonna last too long.
No, you have to. But I think, and I don't know, you could tell me better than I could tell it. It seems like if you're taking it in a certain direction, they go like, oh, let's build on that.
Yeah.
Because they're having to write so much. I'm in awe of the amount of stuff that those guys have to write.
Yeah. You know, I came into GH, well, it's a long story, I've said it 1,000 times, but I had a nervous breakdown the first 3 weeks. And then I quit, and then I came back. And my character made your character look like the Wizard of Oz. It was like he had a 16-year-old girl, gave her drugs, made her strip. It wouldn't work now, bro. And I got her away from the lead guy, Antonio Sabato Jr. He was like this, goddess. They hated me. But I was only supposed to be on 6 months. But I liked it. And then I said, I'm going to turn it. So I think this is what you're trying to say. I changed my choices. So instead of giving her drugs, I gave her, maybe in my mind, lithium to help her.
Yes.
And then you start doing it that way. If you change your choices, you could change it. But boy, it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, but it's like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Why are you change the why.
The motivation, why. Yeah.
Yeah. And you did China Beach. I mean, I ain't going to go down the line, but how was China Beach?
Oh, it's fantastic. I was so shut down for so long. I had this tragedy in my teenage years that just shut me down.
What happened?
I was in a car accident and a boy died, and I wasn't charged with anything. I wasn't speeding, nothing. But a little kid ran out in front of me, and he was a friend of mine.
Oh, Jeff.
And so I didn't even start I wasn't even able to talk about this till a few years ago. But I really thought, I was a murderer, and I wasn't worthy of life, let alone happiness. But I didn't know how to kill myself. So everything was
holy moly
held inside. And then I came and that acting was like, oh, it's a window out. And I started getting some therapy and started, getting a little bit more. And China Beach was just that was like 86. I'd gotten my first big gig in like 85. And so it was a guy who had seen way too much. He was like 1,000-yard stare. And it was written that way. And that's who I was, man. I was like, I wasn't fit for society. I could just barely talk, and they wrote that character, and I
you must have nailed it.
And I had the flu when I went in. I could barely talk, I said, sorry about my voice. They said, no, we love it. We love it. You know, so it was using what I was in a situation where it really fit.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been blessed with that throughout, to where I finally was able to, you know, just continuing to do the work emotionally and then spiritually, to just keep opening up, to where today I can, you know, I can take from all of that, but I'm not controlled by any of that.
Yeah.
You know, because I've cleared myself of the, you know, the blocks and the trauma and all of that.
You know, I'm in the same place you are, because I think we talked about it when we talked in the hall, but we had a nice talk. The first time probably I worked with you, I was a different guy than I am now. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's kind of, you know, what happened to me in the pandemic changed me. I think we worked before the pandemic.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
See?
Yep.
So I was the other guy. And then
Yeah, you were held back.
tight,
Yeah, tight.
tight and darker.
Darker, yeah.
Yeah. Which for the character kind of works. I mean, especially early on when I was real dark. But my life is not as happy.
No.
No, and you know, and then when you go through stuff, you break away from that. Now I know what joy is. I've never known what joy was. True joy inside. It's always been darker and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And you know what joy is more than someone else who hasn't been through what you've been through, because joy, true joy, can only be experienced if you realize the gift of it, having been to the other side.
I know.
And this is, you know, the one of the things I study, the Veda, it's this ancient teachings, but talking about consciousness as being the truth of life, and it's unique. It's not a religion, but it's unique in its philosophy, which is that heaven is a body-dependent phenomenon. Heaven is not something that happens after you die. Heaven is here. You have to have a nervous system to experience the joy of living. Likewise, hell is a body-dependent phenomenon. You have to have a nervous system to experience hell. And I was in hell for years, and just tortured by the voices and the, you know, the all the held in life, and it's, you know, I don't think it's wrong to think that life is an opportunity to move from darkness to light, an opportunity to let go progressively of all the stuff that holds you back from having life.
That's right.
And then letting yourself be more and more and more alive. And so our gig is, and with the having to deal with ego and set it aside and set it aside and set it aside, and dealing with approval or lack of approval. It's one of the most brilliant spiritual paths you can imagine. That you couldn't come up with one that had more opportunity for spiritual growth, for truth.
Yeah, and I think one thing that and I think we've also discussed this, but when I stopped caring what people think, that weight off my back is amazing. It's a great feeling, man.
Yeah.
It's a little dangerous. Because, you know, I may say things and, you know, but it has made me just be free.
Yeah.
Because I used to, the ego, the judgment, what do they think? What do you think? You know, even now, I'm not, I'm just talking. I don't, maybe years ago I would have been thinking, what does Jeff think of what I just said, or what?
Exactly, yeah, and just feeding on
How were you in that way? Were you always somebody who didn't care what people think, or?
No. And I don't know if there are any actors who actually are that. I mean, who gets into this unless they, you know, I don't know if it's because you need approval or because you need to matter. But there's another, here's what I discovered is that you might have gotten into this. I got into it because it felt so free. And then then as it went on, it was about, I need your approval. And then you have to work against that in order to do anything worthwhile. Because if I'm gauging what I'm doing by whether you dig it or not, I'm not in the moment.
I know.
So that's another constant setting aside until you get to the place where, for me, it's like making the need between us stronger than any idea I have of who's watching and what they're thinking.
Right.
And at least in those moments when the camera's rolling, it's like I don't care what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
After the fact, I might think about it.
Yeah. So, when I think of you, Jeff, I don't know why it pops up in my head all the time. I just think of Zen, and I don't even know why, but it just does. And I want to get into some mental health, but before I do that, I just want to get into a quote that I wrote down. I'm not going to be able to say it as well as you say it or wrote it, but I just want to get this across. It's a beautiful quote. To become mindfully aware of our surroundings is to bring our thinking back to our present moment reality and to the possibility of some semblance of serenity in the face of circumstances outside our ability to control. Beautiful.
Oh,
you wrote that,
I say
right?
that?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's beautiful. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
It means, I heard someone say this yesterday. He said, you can look at the past and the future, just don't stare at it. Isn't that great?
That's badass.
Oh, man. So the intellect is the loudest voice in the room.
Yes.
And we make the mistake of being defined by it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's about 1% of mind. The rest is space. The rest is quiet,
right?
Is emptiness or fullness, as the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
When I am thinking about, like if you're speaking to me and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say as soon as you stop talking, I'm not with you.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing the dishes and I'm thinking about what I need to do next, I'm not here. And I'm missing the only place where the joy of living exists.
Exactly.
Which is in this moment.
In the moment,
and
right.
There's only one moment. Yeah. And it's here.
Here.
So if I am thinking about something else, that means I'm not bringing myself here, and so I don't have the capacity to be alive. And what we all look for is that experience of, I'm in the right place, I'm doing the right thing, I'm there.
Yeah.
It's okayness. Now, the Sanskrit word for this is ananda. It says bliss. And bliss is a really interesting concept because it's not like euphoria. It's not joy. Bliss is the feeling of contentedness with exactly what I am, exactly what is, exactly where I am. Mm-hmm. Where everything's okay and, oh, that's what's next, and, oh, this is happening now. And that's what we all look for.
Yeah.
And we're looking for it somewhere other than where we are.
Right.
The only place it is where we are.
Yeah, exactly.
So the work of, and I don't practice Zen, but the mindfulness is absolutely something that I do practice, but it's about getting here in order to experience, it's that bliss is not something I have to build. It's something that I have to let go of everything that isn't that so that I can be in it, because it's the truth of what I am, according to the teachings of the ancients. Bliss is the very nature of what I am. The truth of what I am, beyond all ego, beyond all thought, beyond all identification with age or success or gender or any of that. Bliss is what I am. It's the very truth of what I am. And if I could let go of all my issues and all my ideas, that's where I would be. And if you did all that, that's where you would be. And together, that's where we would be. So when we feel really comfortable with someone, it's, you know, we're experiencing ourselves as being safe enough to let go of all our concerns and to just be present, bliss with bliss, consciousness with consciousness, life with life,
Yeah.
love with love.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all seeking. So it's to look for happiness in my thinking is like there's an old story of there's a drunk under a street light, and a friend drives by and sees him, and he stops and says, "Okay, man." He says, "Yeah, I lost my keys." And the guy says, "Well, you lost them here?" He says, no, I lost them up there, but there's better light here." You know, it's like, you got to get on the right corner.
Right.
If you're going to find your keys.
Right.
So that's here.
Yeah.
So that's what that means.
So I want to say that we're both in bliss right now.
Well, what we're actually, and what I would say is, yes, and that, so bliss is a state of pure being.
Okay.
And then there is activity.
Okay.
Like there's the ocean of pure being, and then there's a wave of activity. I'm a wave of activity, you're a wave of activity. And together we're having a synchronous experience of activity, which is the joy of living. Okay. So it's bliss on the move.
Wow.
Yeah. And so spiritual work, meditation, all of that is about getting grounded in that underlying truth, so that when you come out into activity, you're behaving from that rather than from your thinking.
Yes.
And then if approval needs or anything are happening, you just go, okay, thanks for sharing. And you just go on and do your work. Because this isn't me. It's just a voice up there.
It's the thoughts that kill you.
Yeah, yeah.
Going through anxiety or depression. So it's the thoughts that it's that movie in your head that just makes it 20 times worse.
Yeah.
If you can let go of that.
If you let go of that and have the connectedness here, and then eventually the identification here with that truth, because what the nervous system is always looking for is a place of solid safety, safety. Because if you're safe, then the anxiety can ebb. But life is changing all the time. Our bodies are changing all the time. Our thoughts are changing all the time. Spirit, they call it the ground state. That's what meditation is about, getting in touch with the ground state. It never moves. It's always the same thing.
Right.
And if I'm identified as that, the world can go to hell in a handbasket, and I can say, okay, next. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 28 years.
Yeah, I know, man.
And he came out, and it was as if he had gone in the day before.
Yes.
Now, inside, I'm sure there was a lot of marks, but it was like he was the same man coming out as he was going in at the place that mattered to him.
Exactly.
Because the outside was so awful. I never talked to Mr. Mandela, but this is my assumption. Yeah. The outside was so awful that he was forced to know himself even more deeply spiritually. And those of us who have gone through, same thing.
Same thing, yeah. It's like Eckhart Tolle said, why is it that you have one guy in prison pulling his hair out, hitting the walls, and in the cell next to him, the guy's painting?
Wow.
Because it's state of mind.
State of mind.
All right, listen, Jeff, you're a big star, and I don't want to keep you any longer. I will say one thing, because this has been a great talk. I'll say it at the end. But I will say Cyrus Renault was the hardest name to say for a lot of us. And I would finally say, you know what? I'm just going to say one or the other. Renault or Cyrus. I'm not saying both, because I keep going up, because I can't say the
it's
name.
It's a lot of letters.
Cyrus, is Renault. It's like, but anyway, listen. This is kind of what I thought it was going to be, because Jeff is that, I just knew that today he was going to be the teacher and I was going to be the student, and I just listened to him, and it's amazing the things that he said, and I just really appreciate it, man.
Oh, God bless you, man. What a pleasure, and thanks for letting me just ramble.
Oh, it was great. It was beyond great. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
State of Mind. We'll see you next Sunday with, I don't know who.